This morning, as we look at this, we've been talking about trust. And in our whole theme for the year, living surrendered, you don't surrender to either. You surrender two different things. One, to somebody who's conquered you, or you surrender your life to someone you trust. And we're talking about surrendering our lives to a God that loves us, to a God that wants to take care of us, that understands what we're going through. We've talked about moving mountains, parting waters today. I need thee every hour. You know, we sing both. We sing choruses and we sing hymns here today. Paul says, I become all things to all people, I may win some to the gospel. Right? So for us, we have people that love the choruses, and we want to sing those. And we have people that love the hymns, and we want to be able to sing those too, because all of it is for him. Right? All of it is for him. So we can praise him no matter what we sing. That's why I tell my daughters, because I can't sing. I just utter noise. But trust. A firm belief in the reliability, a truth, ability, or a strength of someone or something. A firm belief. In John chapter 15, we're going to look at Jesus here. We're going to begin reading with verse 1, going 1 through 17. Not 58 verses this week. I know everybody's just... Can't do that every week, okay? Anyway. John chapter 15, starting verse 1. Jesus starts off here and he says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. Verse 5, he says again, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Let me say that again. Jesus tells us, apart from him, we can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you remain in me, and my words remain in you, and whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. Going on in verse 9, as the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you, and your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love hath no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know what his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last. And so whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. This is my command: love each other. Precious God, as we look at your word today, Lord, may we just have our ears just open, our hearts open, our minds open, dear Jesus, as we talk about the relationship, our relationship with you. In your precious and sweet name, amen. We're going to go back through this, and as we do, remember, I want you to keep the overwhelming theme. I know it never mentions it once in here, but the overwhelming theme I want you to think about is trust. Because God establishes that with us, because without trust, we will not move on to love. He already loves us, but it's hard to love someone, go back. It is, when you don't trust them. First of all, Jesus says in verse 1 again, he goes, I am the true vine. My grandfather used to have a grapevine. And I remember digging the fence. And if you've ever used a post hole digger, you know what I'm talking about. My arms and my shoulders are already tired just thinking about it. You stick that in there, and it's reverse. You think it's squeezing to make it work, but it's actually opposite. You go out and pick it up and move it over. You put the poles in, and you slide the poles out. And we haven't even planted the vine yet. We're just getting the fence ready for it to grow on, you know. So we get ready, and then he plants the vine, and we get it going. It's this little nub, and in the first year, it just grows all along. And my grandfather, I'm like, there's not many grapes on here. He goes, I know, we have to establish the vine, we got it going. And then he comes along, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's got these pruning shears. You know, not the electric ones. My grandfather was an artist, okay? He brought the pruning shears out. He just started to whack away and whack away and whack away at this thing. And pretty soon this beautiful, I thought was this beautiful vine all along the thing was down to pretty much one little strip going this way. And that was about it. What I didn't know is that grapevines will produce two things. It'll either produce a vine or it'll produce grapes. And so once you've got the trunk of a plant and it begins to grow out and the vine begins to grow, if you don't prune it, that's all it'll produce. Jesus first says this, I am the true vine. Ultimately, we're going to get grapes out of this thing, right? And it all comes out of the trunk. It all comes out of the vine. He says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. Now, if you're going to be a vine, you better trust the gardener, right? Right? If you're going to be a plant, you better trust who's planting it. And when you see them coming to you with shears, you got to understand that it's for your best. It's for your best. Because I don't know, usually when somebody comes and they're going to cut me down, I don't like it. They're going to whittle away at me. I don't know about you. I don't take criticism well. I don't know too many people that do. I need it. We all need it. We all need this. We all need to have chipped away a little bit. But it's hard for me. So I've got to trust the person who's come to talk to me. Verse 2, he cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit. Well, every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes. I want you to understand this. In the very idea of this, since he cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, you got to understand they were branches though. It just isn't like they had no clue who Jesus was. These are people who listened to the gospel, opened their ears, made a profession, seemed capable of bearing fruit, had all the appearance of bearing fruit, but yet they were cut off. Unfaithful branches are more profession than they are possession. Does that make sense? They're more profession than they are possession. They pretend more than they are being. They're more deception than they are truth. And they're more counterfeit than they are real. It is impossible, I'm going to say this again, it is impossible to live a fruitful Christian life apart from Jesus.
Amen. Amen.
If you don't know Him and you try to live the Christian life, you are going to fail. Because you're trying to live something supernatural in the natural. And it's not going to work. So I'm just here to tell you right now, if you are playing Christian, you are just being deceiving yourself. First of all, you're not deceiving God. He knows. I'm looking at this. Unfaithful branches that are pruned off are more profession with their mouth than they are possession of having it. They pretend instead of being. They're more deception than they are truth, and more counterfeit than real. I'll never forget when I was a senior in high school, and I was a part of the youth group. That was the thing to be, as part of the youth group, right? Man, go to the youth group. There's Sundays, like 30 of us in there, and I liked it because I was the only one from the north side there, so I got to brag because we meet them every year in football. And so thought I was the head honcho kind of in there. Until I was out one Saturday night. You see, what I did Saturday didn't reflect what I did Sunday. What I did Friday didn't reflect what I did Wednesday or Tuesday. I was counterfeit. I was one of these branches that was going to be cut off. I was out one night, and when I was out one night, and with my friends, and I ran into somebody else from the youth group, and they go, I never thought I'd see you here. Never thought I'd run into something like this. And it was like a sledgehammer hit my heart. I knew right then, God came to me right at that moment and said, you're counterfeit. You're not going to bear any fruit for me. That lip service you pay me doesn't make any difference. So this verse 2 in here, he cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit. It's important. Because those of us who are pretending to be branches, ultimately when Jesus returns, it's not going to be pretty. It's also very discouraging when we pretend and when we're counterfeit and we pray, God help me. Why aren't you helping me? Why aren't you involved in my life? And He's doing certain things for you. But you know what? You're not really of Him. As we find out in here, being of Him and trusting in that relationship. I found out that what happened for me is that I really didn't trust in the words of the Lord. I really didn't trust in that relationship that I'd established with Him. And because I had no trust, I was counterfeit. Because I really didn't trust in Him, I really didn't love Him. Verse 3, you are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. And verse 4, remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Duh, right? That's a duh verse. If you cut the branch off, it's not going to bear anything. So you've got to remain in the vine. They got to remain in that. They got to be a part of that to get the sustenance, what it needs to bear fruit, what it needs to grow grapes. It's got to remain a part of it. Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. And I want to tell you this, and I'm going to challenge you as I'm challenging you, that God challenges me with this as well. Are we witnessing to people? Are we sharing our faith with people? Are we living Jesus before the world so that when they see our life, they see Him? Huh? Do you understand?
Yes.
This is a challenge. Are we trusting in Him that what He says is true? He says, remain in me. Verse 5, we're going to go here. He says again, here he goes, I am the vine. You are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Here we go again. If you are pretending to be a Christian, you are not a Christian. That word is thrown around too much today. Just because you attend church, just because you say some of the right words, people will label you. But I tell you what, only God can truly label you. You've got to know Him and have Him in here. You've got to remain. You've got to be in Him. We want to fill the church. We want to affect people's lives. We want to change the lives of people. We need to get closer to God so that we are in Him and we're bearing His fruit. Because you will bear the fruit of the God you serve. If your God is money, then you will bear that fruit. Because that will be the only fruit you have. And you know what? You'll prove the rest because you'll run away. If your God is the friends that you keep. I need relationships. I need this. I need to have people in my life. I need this. I need... It can be anything. But I tell you what? You will bear the fruit. I'll say it again. You will bear the fruit of the God that you keep. Verse 6, if you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. I remember that as a kid. We go around, we prune everything. You chop off the branches, or you look up at a tree after a storm. It doesn't take but a day or so for you to realize, oh, that branch is not just broken because it's brown. It doesn't take long for it to die. And just because it's still hanging there, it doesn't mean it's alive. And you've got to go get rid of it. And you gather them all. What do? You burn them. Unless you're in the city of Dallas and they frown on that. The code enforcement will come and, get onto you. Verse 8. This is to my Father's glory that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. This is where the trust ends. Right here, we're talking about the trust part. We're going to get to love in this next portion. But in verse 8, this is to my Father's glory that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. God, we trust you enough. Jesus, we trust you enough that we are putting our faith, we are putting our very lives into your hands. We surrender to a power that's greater than ours, to a Savior that is truly God. Not to a God that can fade away. Not to a God that will lie to us. We are surrendering, and our trust is in you. That last part there, showing yourselves to be my disciples. I'm going to say my Sunday school. I love my Sunday school class. We're watching the book of Matthew, and it's seeing it acted out in front of us. And whether you question the actors or whatever, it's amazing to see because it makes my mind just go. Because I'm a very visual person. That's the reason I'm so big. Just kidding. But this last part, showing yourselves to be my disciples. If you begin to think about that, just that part of the scripture, that you're showing yourself to be my disciple. Wednesday night we talked about he keeps me singing, the hymn he keeps me singing about joy. Showing yourself to be my disciple does not mean that you come to church with a plastic smile on every week. I talked on Wednesday about ready to jump the pews. I don't come every week ready to jump the pews. There's some weeks I've had a down week. But there's that inner joy. There's that inner relationship that I have, that I can show that I am his disciple no matter what my circumstance. See, when we show ourselves to be his disciples, it doesn't say only when you're happy, only when things are going right. It says that you will show yourself to be my disciple in all circumstances. Verse 9, here we go. We're going to get to the love part. As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Now remain in my love. There's that word remain again. We have a God that's a relationship God that wants to be involved in our life and wants us involved in his. Remain, to be a part of. Verse 10, if you keep my commands, you will remain in my love. You mean there's a catch to being a Christian? There's no catch. There's a commandment. Because you cannot be a Christian unless you're a part of Jesus. Unless you have him in your life. And yet, unless you've surrendered and you've come to that question in your life, God, am I going to serve you? Yes, I am going to serve you. I'm sorry. And we've apologized to him. I'm sorry, I've sinned against you. I may have lied to people, stolen or whatever, but ultimately I have stolen and lied to you. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. Verse 11, I have told you this so that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be made complete. May be complete. We talked about this verse on Wednesday for 30 minutes. Because I don't know anybody that wants to be sad. But you know what? This may sound crude or whatever, but if you want to change somebody's just emotion, give them a bar of X-Lax. They'll change. That's a visual nobody wants, right? Sorry. But I'm telling you the truth. Our circumstances can change, and our emotions will go here, go here, go here. It can ride up and down. But Jesus says this in this verse 11, I have told you this so my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete. The issue is settled whether if I'm going to have joy in my life. That issue is settled. I am going to be a joyful person. It doesn't mean my circumstances are always going to be right. Because I'm tired of people saying, why aren't you smiling today? Don't you love Jesus? Yeah, I love Jesus. It was a bad day. But in here, I know that and I love him and he comes to me. And he ministers to my heart. In the song we sang today, that you don't part the waters that I want to walk through. There may be a reason he didn't part those waters for you. He didn't want you on the other side there. The Lord, it would be so much simpler in my life if you just do this. If you would just do this. If you just do that. You know what? I don't need simple, I need Jesus. I have told you this, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete. Something that's completed is finished. And that doesn't mean we continue to grow in him and all that kind of stuff, but the joy that we have has been settled. My joy is in him. Because my God is eternal and all-powerful, my joy is completed. Verse 12, my command is this, love each other as I have loved you. But Lord, you don't know what they did to me. He didn't say it. It doesn't if they just treated you right, or if you treated them right. You know, we've talked about this before, that as many people as annoy you, you probably annoy twice as many. I know that's my case. Love each other as I have loved you. Then he goes on, if you don't know what that means, here's what it means in verse 13. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. The ultimate sacrifice. You know that Jesus, he's at the point right now in John 15 where he sees his destiny right in front of him. He knows what's going to happen. It is right in front of him, and he's telling his disciples this. Listen, greater love has no one than to someone who will lay down their life for their friends. But Jesus, who are your friends? Verse 14, you are my friends if you do what I command. You are my friends. And I'm going to add this, if you remain in me, you are my friends. Verse 15, I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. Aren't you glad that we have a God that doesn't want to keep secrets from us? He doesn't make it a secret or something you've got to find out on how to get there, how to get to heaven or how to make it to him. He makes it very plain to us, tells us stories, makes it very simple to us that if we want to know him, all we got to do is call out to him. He's right there. Verse 16, you did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit. Fruit that will last, so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. I think some people today have perverted this scripture and saying, anything I want, I just ask for it. God will give it to me. God doesn't work that way. But he does say, if you're remaining in him, And see, if we remain in Him and we understand that relationship, everything that we want is according to God's will. And when we are moving along and we ask for that, He's wanting to grant it to us. He wants to give it to us because He wants us to bear fruit. It's all about honoring Him. And I think we as a church need to get over honoring ourselves and get back to honoring God. Get back to being in the vine that is His vine. That is Him. It's not our bank account. It's not our location. It is the position that we have in a relationship with Him. And that is in the vine. That's remained in me. God, you can't make it any simpler. Just hang with me. I'll get you through. Verse 17, this is my command. Love each other. Wow. Love covers a multitude of sins. I'm sure you've heard that. If not, I'm telling you. I used to tell my basketball teams, they're all these, ladies basketball players are, all week long they're fighting and scrapping and trying to get some playing time and all this kind of stuff. And we're at the college level, so this is real for them. This is it. I've got 4 years of eligibility, and I need to show my stuff and all this. And so they get mad at one another. And they start getting petty with one another. And being at a Christian college, I can talk about my faith. I could. And when I was there, I would tell them, you know what? I would divide all the teams up, and I would start handing them lists of everybody's name. And at the top it said prayer list. Because you know what? If you're praying for somebody every day, it's kind of hard to be mad at them. If you're genuinely looking out for the interest of others, it's hard to take advantage of them. When we are in Jesus and this relationship is so fruitful, then sometimes our feelings, it's not that they don't matter, it's just we surrender them. God, I get upset. We use the phrase, they stepped on my toes. And we've all stepped on toes and had our toes stepped on. We're going to end with this. It's about trust. Trusting in the branch. Trusting in the vine. And so now we've got to identify what vine are we a part of. Are we a part of the vine that is Jesus? And we are wanting what He wants? It doesn't mean that we know everything. But as long as we want what His wants of Jesus, we want what you want, He'll show us. He'll reveal it to us. Or is the branch what we want? Because that's ultimately what it is. It's those two things. Because you cannot combine the branches. It's grafted into the branch of the vine. They're grafted in. You can't graft both of them in the same place. Christianity and selfishness cannot exist in the same spot. You're either one or the other. You're either a follower of Jesus or not. And I hate to tell people this. I hate to wake people up and people think, well, I'm a good person and all that kind of stuff. There's going to be a lot of good people in hell. And that's a sobering thought. We are at battle with the world. We are at war with the world right now. But we are one with Jesus. This morning I want to sing I Need Thee Every Hour. If the piano player could come. And my wife doesn't know this. I'm surprising her with this. I really thought that was me for a second. It's a local call. This morning I want us to stand and we're going to sing I Need Thee Every Hour. And as we're singing these songs, this song, I Need Thee, I want you to understand that if you are in Jesus, we understand what we need Him. We need Him every hour, every second of every day. If we're going to make it. But today as we sing the song, I Need Thee Every Hour, but you're not really a part of Him yet, and you would like to be, we're going to open the altars one more time. For anybody who'd like to come up, and this is between you and God up here. And so as we sing. Lord, let us live the life that you would want us to live to the fullest, so that people will see you in our lives. And then allow us to be bold enough, Lord Jesus, to share you. There is not a circumstance on this planet today that you cannot help. There's not a circumstance on this planet today that you don't want to be involved in to make it better. Precious Lord, we surrender these things to you. God, be with us all today as we travel and we go our different ways, Lord God. Just surround us, Lord Jesus, in your loving arms. Father, I pray for those who are moving away today. They're never gone. They're never really cut out, Father. They're just a branch being grafted in somewhere else. But they're always welcome here. May they always know that. Precious Lord, our new families, Lord Jesus, I just pray that you would surround them in such a way that they feel at home. Thank you, dear Jesus. Thank you for your word. Thank you for loving us so much that you not only said that great love hath no man or no one than to lay down their life for another, but you went and did it. We can never repay that gift. Thank you, Lord. Be with us today in your precious and sweet name we pray. Amen. You may be seated.